Okay, so the next task is multiple columns. So we have multiple things in here that we have to print it a bit. But I would want to do some refactoring. Let's do this quickly. First of all, I'm gonna try to stop like this. I think this is it. I think we could color, select, not single thing anymore. I think multiple columns. There I say. Column iterator. Count. Back with so if we know we have a statement like apple, oranges, that's one. So it means we have two elements. We have apples, it's 0, it means one element. And then we have two commas, means three elements. So it's going to be at least more than commas plus one. So we can do something. We do var columns of and we capacity. And here we can come. We don't have a alcohol. Also, funny thing is, I don't know. I was looking at the copy paste and then I was looking at the is it. This is somewhat helpful with the from, but I think we know that just expected from, but got something. I think stuff like this. And the whole approach is also not that bad. I was asking for different opinions and different things. Just having this statement as just part of this tag union is fine. The only problem is just wasting a bit of memory. Random stuff that we don't need. And then we carry it around for a while, but it's not that long because here's an error here. Not that bad, could have been worse. Some other approach is to have another union in here. So instead of carrying the maybe wasteful strings, having like a long chunk plus something else or whatever stuff have a tag union and then that afterwards. Not the worst. We go back this columns message. This, let's keep that kind of and because here we call all of this, that's or so in this case, if something goes wrong, we need to clean it up, but because we do the own slice, it's gonna drain it, like it's gonna flush it. It doesn't matter. Like this is gonna be cleaned up at the end because we returned it twice. So in the good case and in the bad case, we need to, and this is just going not implemented. Well, append is fine. Is else add in here. So here we're ready in if nice. Let's because we don't need this. And where else? Oh, this is, this is what we need to need case of there should not be any errors in here, like nothing should go wrong, but in theory if we add something else like some blah 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 and then we forget to do this, this message is we don't return this error. So getting better. So here with the capacity, we know that we need X number of elements at 1. If this is empty, can it be empty? Select next means that select something. Oh, no, it means we already in given from that would fail. So there should at least be something inside. Be an empty comma, like select comma. I should tell valid. If we have something like this, so it's gonna give us 1, and then it's gonna try to iterate, and the iterator is gonna give empty comma. Ah, fuck it, I think it's fine. Also, there's a bunch of this stuff. This is also not needed. I don't know. And then read. Get it. Expected. What's the error in here? I think both of those errors are gonna just change. That's something else, I think. Let's try, and then we. Oh no, those are already cleaned up. Consistency is not the best. Let's just do it this way. I think it should fail on that. Tokenize any columns. Zoom capacity, which does not even have an error as well, which is doesn't allocate. Doesn't take an allocator as well. Bit of a cleanup. A bit of a cleanup, and after that we call which is fine-ish. Fine. But it's another thing, right? Like if it's not your stuff is going to be allocated on there. You know what I'm saying? That if this should be cleaned up, and we're not saying that it's cleaned up, or we're not saying it. That's because also here have this. Now we need to have columns. Go to our SQL is we're not even clean it up. So SQL parsed is clean it up. Name allocator. Get here. Maybe not that bad actually. Maybe we don't need this. So because we pass it in here and then pass it in here, it's fine. This is more like in that takes this and turns. Yeah, maybe that's better. Take it from here and then we put it inside the parse this. But then if we do column statement parse SQL, it doesn't look much worse, but then we explicit here's you're gonna do this and then you're going to like we did before. So we already doing it properly. I remember now. Right. And then in the test we failed and cleaned up the leak, but the leak in the main we didn't fix. And here it's also parse SQL. So and this is similar to what we are looking with. We were talking in the beginning on the previous video. Depends on how I cut it about having stuff unmanaged. Oh no, this is kind of between the two worlds. It's kind of between the two worlds we're talking about. We do pass it on init and the init. So the user can explicitly do this, but in theory we could have done something like could have kept the GPA in here. Right? Not like We could have kept it here, and then on parse SQL, we would pass it here, and then we could say that something like that. Okay, and then you save it here once, and then when we are here already, I know that I do have on the self, and I can reuse it. So I'm always going to be using the same thing as I used before. So for me, as the implementer of this function, is obvious what I need to use, and I'm not gonna mess it up. I think still could mess it up. But then for the caller, I would remove this like this, and then also the caller doesn't need to care about this because they like whatever that it's gonna be they need with whatever it has inside, which is fine. But then if the caller has 2 GP, and then I have this, and then have some other one, and they have an arena, and then they wouldn't know when I do they need which one is gonna be cleaned up. So it's possible that they have multiple stuff in like we have multiple stuff, and I want to clean up a page first, and I don't want to clean up a column. And if I clean this up before I clean something else up, it's hard to predict. Like I have to know like one. So that's really interesting design space and things to think about that. I wasn't thinking even before. Like before we were winging it and they just like everything's fucking arena, let's go. Not cleaning up, whatever, doesn't matter. But now when I have to think about it, I'm like, oh no, there's so much decisions and things to think about. And it's easy to make mistakes, but you make mistakes and you learn, right? Like you add a bunch of stuff and then you get bitten and then you're like, okay, I'm not going to do this. And there are rules of thumb and there are people approaches and different things that people do, but you cannot have those knowledge without knowing the whys and being wise about it. I think it's so. Let's try to see this statement particle. What else we have? This we decided not to do experiment. Rename, but now we are mature. We have and here we can, I don't know where it's file. Then here to own slice can fail. You might run out of memory. Oof. What is this? Stuck. Okay, I think we got broken. So this works. Oh, this is. Oh, it doesn't work. I saw it wasn't red, and I was like, okay, it's fine. Stuck. No, I think fine. Let's just test and successfully. Oh, I don't like this. It's reset things up. Does it run on main, but it doesn't run on this one? Okay, I'll look into this later. But let's do 200 again. Yeah, but I think this test just gets stuck. So I was getting works. I mean, it can get here. So, So defer. Defer as passes when we don't have the they need as passes. Oh yes. So now message doesn't need up, right? Got myself into this is the one that gets cleaned up. Those things do not need to be rid myself. So the issue is that some strings are allocated and need to be cleaned up and some not. Yeah, I think I should not have. I don't think it. This is not owned. And then we're back to the mass where like stuff is half owned, half not. Better not to have anything. Hmm. Then with this, something like this. Not actually much because found. Let's just print it. I think they should say this. All I'm gonna allow is just. I won't allow. It's. I think it's the same error. Yeah, because it's not gonna. It's gonna part of the parsing. This. Not very helpful. Both cases terrible. Working. I thought that act. Okay, maybe let's try to print it one by one. What? Oh, restart the. Here, not on row. Well, on some. Works. Not it any Oh, my idiotic parser does not handle things like this. Oh, I've been not thinking at all. Okay. New approach. Let's do. So our beautiful parser goes one by one, and then we do select, and then we do whatever. I think we can do something like this. So here we're gonna do while iter next. We will be iterating, right? I think that kind of makes. What also makes sense is that I wanted to have commas in here, but it probably will not work, or maybe it will. So let's just do it. So here, select. This is well. So we know we are in select, right? We are inside the select, and then we know how many commas are in there, right? It kind of makes sense. So we have a select, and then we count the commas. Technically, in case of count, it doesn't matter. So we are wasting one traversal of a SQL statement, but it shouldn't be that big, so it doesn't matter. And then we're gonna go through all the elements again. Our elements are base separated, but I think we can also include here I wanted to include commas, but then it's gonna be awkward. It's gonna it would be easier to write a fucking normal parser by now. But we're not gonna give up. I think we can do this. I think we can do this. We can do. Yeah, the problem is what I'm thinking as well. If somebody can do apples, right, with a comma and without a comma, and we want those commas out. But if we remove commas in here, then our create parser is gonna break because we rely on tokens here. But we actually do the raw SQL anyways. We only look at the first one. So maybe just this will work. So this will remove the commas. But then we cannot count the commas, and then we'll have to be dynamic, but then it doesn't matter. I just wanted to show this an exercise, and I think that's fun. But we don't need this. It's not the worst. So we know that we are inside the select. We don't know the capacity anymore. We only can do here. It So now when we do this, we roughly have in words, and we iterate in the words, just the words themselves. So the first word is select, and we know that then everything else we assume. Parts of the select. What to select is going to be this. Then we can say that this is here. What select? Maybe let's call those columns select. Be more explicit. So here we know that we are wild people. We're gonna do this. If we got to from, what do we do? Like we could be iterating and then we stop at from and then we do from in the outside loop. Because what we need is we need a table name and we need a from. We will need these two here. Need it. Only need somehow to this and then. So we go through columns, we iterate columns, and then when we stop at from, let's call it the top. We just break the loop. So we got to from. If we never get to from, then we can keep this, whatever. It's not the most precise error, but better. So yeah, that's not. This should be there. Right, because we're gonna be iterating until it's over. And if we got to from, we make. So that's it. So if we have select, we have something in there, then we pick. And if not, try to accumulate. If we have a count, right? We have a count. It's going to be something similar. So if we look at the what are we selecting, the next thing is count, for example, we need. It's going to be count, but we don't know the table yet, so we cannot return. But we do have enums. So in theory, we can just bar result is option. This is the tag union. I'm not sure I can. Yeah, I can have a statement. Statement kind, and this is kind. How do I put question mark here? Statement kind, and then like this. Not sure this is the correct syntax, but yeah, I just want empty. So this is. I need to put null or nil. I just don't remember what we need. But the idea is that okay, we don't know what the result is going to be of this, and so we're going to look at the columns. If we have from, it means we got enough columns, so we didn't got nothing, no columns, so we'll have to check later. And then in here, we know that if we have a count, then the result is count. Right. And we need to return from the while loop. We don't need to look at the rest of the columns. We know that we got this special one. Okay, and then if we have something else, in theory, this is not the best because we check each one, but ever. And then we need to append, and now we need to pass it to this because we didn't use the other one. And so here, is if we have at least one, so if, I mean, if result is already not select, right, we can say that it should be select. And then we can see, because we also need to see if we went and there's statement select comma from, right? There is no columns in there, as we were talking. I think I even had a comment before. If there is no columns to select and there is no count, it means it's a shitty syntax error. And then we can use this to know, okay, we have at least one column, so you have a select. And so when we pattern match on this, we know the result is either proper count and there is some columns, or it's a count and we just do a count. I think it's not that bad. It's So now we pattern match on the result, other way around. And here we need to say that if the result is a count, if the result is select, and if anything else, it should be right. There is no other where account here, but it's optional. Yeah, I always forget about optional. So if we say if result if result if we manage to parse it, and if we didn't, we can say that we have still from here. And then it means that what do we say? We say, so somehow we had no columns, nothing. Nothing to select. Broken select. Malformed select statement. Right, so if somehow we never got to a count, or we never got to a column, that's going to be, or somehow we got to from right away, that's never going to be anything. So somehow this select is actually here's the thing. Oh, and then we that's pretty nice too. And then this is probably going to be the errors in here. Those are malformed. This is going to be skipped. There's nothing in here. This will see a column, so this will be a different error, but this will not see from. So let's keep that one. Because this is actually still needs a bit more. So we got with this, like in theory, we stopped at either next, and then we actually lose this, right? Like we either stopped because we consumed from, or we stopped because we got to the end of the list. So now we need to do, anyways, we need to try to do another element. I think this is one of the next assignments, but for now, this is only going to be after from, so it should be a table. It should be, well, should be a table name. This is an if. And in this case, if we got there somehow, but there is no table name, it means that we got, in this case, incomplete. I don't know. It's not the it's not the most conventional way to say that stuff is there, but I think that this, and this goes in. So if we iterate next and we have a table name, I'm gonna use this. Oh, or we're gonna return an error, say like, look, you don't have it. And then inside, you probably need this for select. select here, and this one we have count, and columns count does not have. In this case, we do need columns to select, and then table name, table name. I think this looks reasonable. Maybe not the nicest, but I think. Let's see if it compiles. Let's see where we get. And the test's still not working, but I think I have an idea. So iter first. Iter first is not working because we are next. Statement. Empty statement. That's consent. Okay. Okay, this makes sense. This makes sense because this is right now. Sense because we used to not have errors, now we do. And now we panic because there's something else. So excess of union field syntax error while select is active. So this is the case where I think fix the bug. Maybe not. Not fully. So now we might want to actually print stuff. Name color. Name apples. Okay, that was pretty good. Typo. And now it works. The one thing that I'm not happy with is this. And I want to be able to just do. I want to be able to do this. I want to go and I want to say result, please print this. And you can do this now, but we are looking at this. And I know that Zig like this. No, that's called, I think something. Format. Format. This is what I'm looking for. We need function. So it's like a toString or show or whatever that we can use to print our stuff. Public format. Oh, you just had to type that and it. Oh, this is really nice. And so now we can switch like we had before. We switch. And then in case of account, we want to say. So in case of account, we know that we will writer print count and then whatever you do. And then our account has a table name, right? That's what we want. We want to see count from table name. Extra. This says this. Select has columns. Select from we need column. select from table name. Then we can, but like, no, we don't need them because we're gonna inline them. Select from columns, and then for as do we just write a column, right? Write a column, but I want it. Don't think is join, right? There should be join separator. So does not have a well, okay, but you can join with a separate with a comma here, and that would work as well. But let's just do print column. There's gonna be an extra dangling comma, but I don't give him. In this case, create table, also a bunch of stuff. Print color. And in case of the syntax error, we just want print in a white. Syntax error, we can print the message, and then we can print the error, and then and in case of create table name, have this, and then that would be useful if we had another format for the other one. So maybe that, and then because we have columns, and for each column definition, right? We just print the column definition. Also column definition. Yeah, something like this. Fine. Let's just try to have the same one for column definition. Header match. Just column name. Right, we don't do much else. And then this, and I think it's enough. It didn't it didn't call it, or it doesn't use it in debugging. Okay. Oh, do we have all of those? Was there? Okay, now column definition doesn't like this. It's only in the second. So no field or member function name format in this. Oh, this is just right. Wait, I think that just I was not typing right. Hey, this something. This is great. This is great. Now we can debug these things when we need. So this is good. One thing that's left is this. So it only runs and nothing changes it. And from what I'm in, seems like you have to, like if I do and I mean let's just try to want to test it. We just want to see if it works. I'll have to undo it soon anyways. Test something. Oh, you see? So now it triggered those tests. Seems like. So I think that when you're not referencing, not using from tests, those tests are not called. And I think because in build we only look at main and everything that comes from main, and I think it works in compile time because we put in tests we work it. I think I've seen something. Somehow you need to tell like look at that one. I need to search for a specific way to do this. Maybe enough. Tell me which test failed. But I think it pulls them, right? Like we can see that this is something from the other one. Okay. And test discovery is all. So we have should parse account statement. And it seems like it's not working. Try to run it, but it's not same. And luckily now we have to insert result. Close it. Didn't get. Okay, so we have count from wait, I assume that we consume this. Count from. Oh wait, we don't consume it in case of the count. Oh, that's annoying. Ugly. So if we go back, we have this check here. Well, we can do this. And then if we have a count, because in theory you can select like apples and you can select name and then count. So this is still also fine for other cases, in our case. And then you're gonna bump into from. But then it's gonna be so ugly. Oh, this is so bad. Okay, this. Is so bad. This is so bad. Yes, all of them again. Something else fails. There is now that it's just gonna be should fail. No column select. So this one gives us some. I need to distinguish this from this. And now we out doesn't do this. There is no point of it in theory. Now if we try all the tests, we still get one more. Okay, I think we just keep those two the same. It's the same error. Like something here is missing. It'd be better to do. They said that there could be multiple things. All our tests. And I think we're in a good state. With this, we need to go and implement. Probably failing because we have multiple columns now.